Oh. It's not Levy because he's on here now.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying Levy's not awesome?
I don't know. Someone came in as awesome. We were trying to guess who it was.
I was just reading between the lines there.
I think he's pretty awesome, but that's why I said it was probably him. He's got the little Costa Rica plant in the front of him. Like he's. Oh, it's Neil Schaefer. There you go. And he's drinking a beer. That puts him in that category. There you go. Hello, Mr. Armstrong. Got some drivers going on here. I like it. Well, let's see more come. There's Aaron. Bowser said he's gonna be late. We are recording this, so if anyone asks, we are recording this, so it will go on YouTube. So if you miss something or you want to catch something again, I'll put it on the Elite FC YouTube page because we're so tech savvy in this club. We're rolling in. Hello, Aaron. Hello, Zon. Hello.
You guys hear me all right?
I heard you.
Okay.
What's up, Matt Gorioso? All right, we will, there's another. We'll get started here in just a second with some things. Any vacations anyone's going on here soon? Or it looks like there are a couple traveling right now.
Headed to Kansas City
Okay. Oh, that's at futsal.
for
The
futsal
futsal
national
ID.
ID and yeah, and tournament out there. So
Nice. How far a drive is that?
I think it's about 10, maybe 10 and a half or something like that. So
All right. Anyone else in a vacation?
Tennessee, late July.
Tennessee, late July. All right.
Headed out to Indiana, taking my son to a wilderness camp for a week, starting
Okay.
18th, July 18th.
We have two of the, speaking of camps, we have two of the 06 girls that just got to UNC. They're doing the UNC women's camp down there with Anson. So I just saw pictures of them, a couple of those girls. So pretty neat. All right, well, we'll get started here. I'm going to share the screen here. Try to. Let's go. So we got so this is just and I could share this with you guys at some point as well. So this is just kind of an agenda, things that we want to talk about from the things. So first off is leagues. First off, like we've been getting emails. I know Brent Segner emailed me the other day or sent a thing out and he was like, another league, holy cow, there's so many like leagues and stuff like that are just happening all of a sudden. It's pretty crazy anymore. So we are, I don't know, we are right now, most of our teams are in either OCL, which is called the Ohio Champions League, or the COPL, which is kind of the step up of that. There's Mosul. Mosul was around a long time ago. I think it's about to be done. This may be the last season of it. There's a new Ohio South combined with Ohio North. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They're starting to create leagues themselves. So they've created this Nike Development League in Columbus. There's a Victors League that's in Dayton and Cincinnati. I think a lot of you guys know a little bit about Buckeye. Buckeye is, I think it's going to survive a little bit, but I'd be interesting to see what happens here in the next few years with Buckeye. Because OCL, COPL, they're trying to start taking some of those teams to make COPL like more statewide versus, so like grabbing teams from Cincinnati and so forth instead. So there's the NPL, which we've gotten into the last couple of years, which is the National Premier League. There's some Cleveland teams, some Cincinnati teams, some Columbus teams. We had Indianapolis playing in it. We had Toledo playing in it. It's kind of neat. You're on turf a couple different times, up in Canton or like in Buffalo, stuff like that. We had about 6 teams in it this year. We have 10 teams going in it this next year. And then there's Ohio State Soccer League now, OSSL, which is through Ohio South / Ohio Soccer Association and so forth. So I would, and I know a couple have reached out, please reach out and, because if you're concerned or you're not sure where to go, what league to go in, what division to go in, make sure you reach out. A lot of these leagues now, you're going to go in through, you're going to go like the OCL, COPL, you'll go in through their website and log in. If you're doing Buckeye, I think you have to go in through Demisphere, which is Ohio South, Ohio Soccer Association's thing, Ohio State League as well. So just reach out if you're confused about it or what level you need to be at, stuff like that. So I think we want to look at maybe making sure our teams are challenged, making sure there's some success in it as well. I know in the past, other clubs have taken teams that have gone from like a middle tier level and put them into the highest Buckeye level and them getting destroyed. Obviously, we don't want that. We want success. We also want to challenge the kids as well. We don't want I love that teams win championships and stuff like that, but I've seen multiple teams go 10-0 and have 87 goals and 2 against. That's not doing anything for a team, stuff like that. So make sure you reach out and do that. You could register. That'd be great. If you need me to help you out with that, I'm totally happy to help. I know some of you, maybe the parent rep is the same, maybe the coach is different. You want to reach out to them and say, what level did our team play? What are your thoughts on where we should go, stuff like that. And, if you need to get, a second opinion or whatever, please reach out to me or, maybe the former coach or whatever. So I can go from there. So I'm starting to see any questions on that, anything on leagues, anything to add on that. Please, if you have a question or you have something you want to add in, please do. Like, just speak up, because I'll just start rolling, and I don't want to miss out if you have something that because if you have that, this typical thing. If you have a question, someone else probably has it also. So.
Hey, Mark.
Yes,
It's Brent. Any chance as a club we'll decide to go one way or the other with respect to U.S. club versus U.S. youth? Obviously, I think, right, we've got some clubs, local clubs now that are all in on U.S. club and ECNL and stuff like that. So they jump on tryouts, 2 and 3 weeks earlier. Any chance we might go fully one direction or the other with the options that are available kind of in both sides?
We've definitely talked about that. And you guys can fill me in on your thoughts. I've always been one that has given some freedom to coaches, some, autonomy to them to choose the league, choose the competition they want. You guys are the ones traveling too. There's obviously difference in the leagues. If you're doing Buckeye, you're going to be in Dayton for almost every single game. If you are in MPL, like for example, my girls were in Toledo twice. They were in Cincinnati once, and every other game was pretty much at home. So, I mean, you weigh that. Right now, I don't think as a club, we are going to make a decision on going one way or the other. That may change over the winter, possibly. Because like you said, if we get into tryouts or maybe it's something we look at next year as we go into tryouts and stuff like that, if we want to try and make that decision, or we just want to make it like at the high school age groups, they're all going, NPL or whatever. So that's kind of the thought.
Gotcha. Okay. So if in that situation, just say all the high school age groups went US club, can you have those tryouts earlier?
Yes.
Just for those age groups? So it depends on, like, if everything in an age group is US club, you could have those tryouts earlier if you wanted to then.
Correct.
You don't have to. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be the whole club.
Exactly. Yeah. So
okay. Perfect.
So
okay.
I know
that's good.
Yeah. So I know like our 12 girls will probably want to stay. They possibly want to stay as U13s. They may want to stay like Buckeye, Ohio South State League or whatever.
Sure.
Then, I mean, their tryouts will still have to be later, but we can go from there. So yeah.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on that? And if you have opinions on that, I mean, you're welcome to. I mean, we're not perfect. We don't know all the answers or anything like that. So you're welcome to reach out and touch base with us on that as well. So we did have one person I saw like asked about Mosul. I'm going to probably push that person away from that option. We could possibly put something in, but I don't think Mosul is going to be around this next year. So just a heads up. So, all right. Next is leagues. Next is tournaments. In the past, this last year was really weird because tournaments were until about the beginning of October. We couldn't even have a tournament that went into, it would have to be a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday. So tournaments, I know some people have talked about different tournaments and stuff like that. In the past, we've done a club tournament, or we've gone to one tournament, and it's kind of neat because you have siblings in the club and stuff like that for all the kids to go to one spot. It's kind of neat. We've done Party at the Pitch before, which is the end of August. It's 150 degrees still at that point, but I mean, it's early. It's before any league games, stuff like that. So, and it's all in one park, which allows kids to go watch their friends, parents to go watch the multiple siblings that are possibly in the club, stuff like that. So, again, I give a lot of, what makes sense for you, what makes sense for your team. And I'll give you, if you want to reach out personally or whatever, I will definitely help you out with making choices as well. So what are thoughts right now? I know I saw a couple go to is it Kent Dossie? Is that right, Andy?
Yeah, Ken Dossie. 3 of us did so far, and that was because of the sibling deal.
Okay.
So Sean and myself and Brent Segers. Okay.
And that might be that might be a neat one to go to with Grand Park. If you've not been to Grand Park, it's north of Indianapolis. Maybe some of the younger teams or the second teams might, maybe some of them that parents might have a little more issue with traveling as far, because that's a good 3 hours to get there. But it's an amazing park. It's really nice. They have.
Well, I know I talked to Levy about it, and there's a better, I wouldn't call it, I'm not say better, but a bigger tournament the Labor Day weekend over there. this one worked out for us, for those of us in NPL, but also looking at the teams, they only had one bracket because of COVID last year, I believe. But the teams that were in it, at least in our age group, were quality teams. I didn't look at everybody else's, so I can't speak for that, but I'm hopeful that they'll have more brackets this year because we're through COVID. So
What was it called last year? Because
it's the same. It's the Kelly. It's the what is it? What's his first name? It's Doshi.
Kelly. Kelly.
Okay, I thought it changed. I thought it changed because of something, but I could be wrong. I thought it was named something different last year, but I could be wrong. Anyways, all right. So there's that. What are other thoughts?
One quick comment, if anybody else is looking at going to the Kalidasi, is that if you want to get the cheaper price, you need to register by, I think it's like next Tuesday or something like that.
I think
So
yeah.
yeah, and after that, it jumps up another $100. So, you know, if you want to save Lead FC a little money, get that one in early.
And some of the tournaments, if we go to multiple teams go to the same tournament, like, I mean, we can get discounts and stuff like that. So that's when, you know, that's helpful as well. I think like Party the Pitch, we were getting $50 off a team. So if multiple teams go to the same one, so. Some other ones that are in there that I've started to see. I know that there's a Cincy Challenge. If you're looking for a closed tournament, some close ones here. Gahanna runs one in August. It's kind of a B level tournament. The Charity Cup is kind of a B level tournament. It's Labor Day weekend. OP has one. There's usually a Dublin Champions Cup, which is run by the OCL or Champions League, Ohio Champions League people. Trying to think what else off the top of my head.
Columbus Fall Classic. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, which is run by Sporting Columbus.
But it's
And
a
they're over-
Spindler.
It's a Spindler. Thank you. We've had some teams do that in the past.
Club Ohio has an early one and a late one as well.
So those are a few. There's fall ball. I mean, you can go to Cincinnati, you can go to Dayton. I mean, Warrior has a tournament. So there's a lot of them. Here's from a tournament side, you can go to a few different things. So you see here, there's tourneysentral.com, which will show tournaments. If you click here, there's different ones you can get into. Some you may not know where they're at, but like, there's North Columbus, these are August ones or April ones. So if you get to like August, there's Party at the Pitch, there's the Gahanna Fall Open, Motor City, which is there, Bays in Cleveland, and so forth. So it'll run all the way through WNA Champions Cup. So that's a decent thing. I'll send that out to everyone. You go to Got Soccer, which is another one you can sort on. I want to go to Ohio, I want to go to Indiana, whatever, and you could sort on tournaments there. There's a cup tournament there, so forth. So there's different ones. Grove City has a tournament, so forth. So you can look at that. Ohio South, the old Ohio South, you go to the new Ohio Soccer Association site. It's not very user friendly yet. I don't think they have it rolling yet, but if you go to Ohio South, and then you can get to tournaments. There's a tournament listing right here, and then it'll take you through some of these. It'll click on some of these as well. So we'll send these links out to you guys as well. There's that Fall Classic. I know some go to some of the later ones. We've had people go to like the Haunted Classics. So this one's the Ankeny, so forth. There's that Club Ohio one, so forth.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
Can you send out a Google sheet for the tournaments? That way, when people start seeing, hey, there's like 3 or 4 teams that are all going to be at Blue Chip, or they're all going to be at Dublin Charity Cup, and that may sway some other coaches to attend too. So that might be an easy way to do it.
Yep. And I'll share it with you guys, so that way you could plug in, put your due date. So we're making sure that things are getting paid, the amount, very helpful. Anything you can put in, because you're just focusing on 3 things. Remember, we're focusing on 40 teams and so forth. We want to make sure that tournaments get paid, kids get to play, stuff like that. So any little extra detail you can put into that tournament thing would be extremely helpful. So.
And just to confirm, OCL teams will do 2 tournaments per season, and then COPL Buckeye teams will do, or NPL teams will do 3. Is that correct still?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then if you want extra ones, you just have to tell your parents that, you know, they would have to pay an extra fee if they choose to do a 3rd or 4th or whatever. And that's
And
usually about $50-$60.
Yeah, most of the time you just reach out and say, hey, do you guys want to do an extra tournament? And most of them are pretty okay with it. So, and then coaching. So there is, so this last year with the US club stuff. So most of you will probably be carded into US club. The Ohio South, Ohio Soccer Association. So like possibly, probably Matt, I think is going into that, possibly Matt Gorioso. Most of the others are pretty much going into Got Soccer. So if you can see here, this is Got Sport, which is running all our carding right now through US Club. Sorry about the bad picture. All right, typical for me. Anyways, so you guys all have an account in this, and I can send you the email. You probably have to set up your own account and stuff like that. When you get in to it, this is your dashboard. You'll see, and what'll come up, these are the things that you need to take care of. So it should come up under dashboard. It'll have coach, competitive, US club, and then you need to do a safe sport. And this will probably be, I'm sure this will be exactly the same for the Ohio Soccer Association as well. So safe sport, if you've not done safe sport yet, it's about an hour and a half of like video on harassment and bullying and how to like, you know, how to be around kids without getting yourself in trouble or, you know, mistreating them and stuff like that. So a couple of the key things there, just make sure that no kids left at a park by themselves. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. Don't get caught, males don't get caught with a female one-on-one, females don't get caught with a young boy one-on-one, try and have someone else around, similar things. All right. There's a background check that you'll have to get taken care of. And then this disqualification suspension, basically it just says there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to coach. And then you click yes, and it okays it already. So as you can see, so that's that. So, and I can help you guys out. You guys are all in there right now. And then we'll go from there. If you want to get a carded assistant coach, they will have to go through all of that as well. You do not have to, I think this is pretty in every league, you don't have to be carded. You don't have to have a carded assistant. And your assistant does not have to be carded to be on the sidelines with you anymore, if that makes sense. So, for example, Sean, just because he's up in my top left, he may have me as his carded assistant, just in case. But you know, so you know, his son's there. Sean gets a red card. Hopefully, he doesn't. His son goes over and coaches the rest of the game. Hopefully, that doesn't happen. Just example. So, all right. Let's see. So that's kind of the coaching stuff like that. So those 3 things need to be taken care of. That background check takes about a week or so to take care of. The safe sport, if you've already done it, there's a refresher course 1. I just finished refresher course 2. It took probably about 45 minutes. And the bad thing about safe sport is you can't fast forward through anything. It's on there. So, I mean, it's, for the most part, it's pretty common sense stuff. So you've watched it the first time, you know, find something else to do while you're doing it too. You can kind of do, you know, multitask while you're doing it as well. So licenses, these are going to be pretty important. There are grassroots that are online. There are grassroots that are in person in Columbus this summer. If you have 0 license right now, that's something that we talk about when we, put advertisement out, when we, so forth, that all our coaches are licensed. You should have, the grassroots are pretty quick. So they're not too difficult. You could go, and I know these grassroots will lead to, if you do, I think Brent or Andy, you could help me out with this. You do 1 or 2 in person, do 1 online. Is that right? 2 in person?
I'm assuming with COVID being done, it'll go back to where the 11v11 has to be done in person. The other 2 can be done online.
Okay.
But it also depends if you had the E or F. That does cut down on some of those grassroots requirements. But if you just go onto the U.S. Soccer Learning Center, it'll tell you everything you need to know.
Okay. And U.S. Club's doing some stuff. We are actually talking about hosting grassroots in late October, early November. So that way, if you want to just get out and, learn a little bit more, stuff like that, so forth. So we would really love to push everyone into, a D license, if we possibly can. We've been, the club board has been revamping our pay scale. And one of the things that is going into it is years of experience, licensing, and you need a, and Brent, you could add into it, but having a license is important as well.
Yeah, so I think, Mark, just to be able to elaborate, and we'll definitely communicate the pay grid here soon, but we are starting to be able to take into account both years of coaching, internal and external to the club, in addition to the licensing for your overall compensation package. So I guess not to be able to kind of beat it into the ground, but we are looking for all coaches to be able to have at least the base grassroots licensing completed by the end of the fall season. So, and by all means, and Matt, I know you're involved in those discussions as well. So let me know if I missed anything.
I'll say to beat it into the ground a little bit more, Brent. This is Nick.
Oh, there you are,
Sorry,
Nick.
I was late jumping on. Yeah, so not only hopefully, primarily we want it to be incentivized because, it's because like Mark was talking about it, we advertise, we have, coaches with professional licenses and things like that. And I'm going through the D right now. I'm done in a couple of weeks, and it is, even coaching a long time, I've learned a lot actually. So certainly, a lot of it is just hopefully you get something out of it, but also just that little bit extra incentive is that it will affect your pay as well. So.
Yeah. So that'll be coming out here pretty shortly. So practices, when to start. We would expect everyone to be started the first week of August. I know some people, when you did the survey and stuff like that, that coaches survey that I put out there, put that, we're already doing open fields, we're already doing open, kicking stuff, open play stuff, or they wanted to start in July. I would make sure the first week of August be started. And then where I'll put together from what you guys sent to me on that survey. And if you haven't done it yet, please do it. Because it helps me with the, not having to track you down and so forth. So that way I could just start plugging the practice schedule all together, and so forth. So if you are at Mill Valley South, we will organize, where everyone's going to be, what field, stuff like that. There are 6 goals out there, kick wall as well. So I think make sure you play nice. If you're at Shelley, I will actually give you a field that you will have to train on. We do have the entire park now. FC42, I don't know if you haven't heard, is no more. So they are supposedly off the park July 15th, but they merge into Barca Academy or whatever. And so they're no more. They won't be out at Shelley anymore. So we have the entire park to work with. So game self-scheduling. So once you schedule for these leagues, everything is self-schedule. So make sure things not only work for you, also work for your parents. Ask for conflicts. So don't schedule 2 games on a weekend that half your team is gone because there's, I don't know, some 6th grade camp or something like that. So make sure you reach out to your parents and ask for conflicts and stuff like that. Make sure it works in your schedule as well. I know that there's multiple of you that have kids playing on other teams. So work with those other coaches as well, because, you know, obviously family is very important. We want you guys to be able to see your kids and so forth as well. So, and then work it out with others. If you know, maybe your roster isn't as big as what you would like, or, you know, so forth. So, you know, so you can try and get players from other teams or whatever. So we will send out a home field reservation, so you can reserve the field, the game fields, stuff like that. If you are using Elger Park, we will have the corner flags. We cannot leave them at the park. They usually sit on my front porch. You can, there may be only so many, and you may be able to just take a set on your own to hold on to for the fall as things go. Game fields, Shelley is going to have only one 11v11 this fall. We'll have 2 in the spring, which will give a little more training ground, stuff like that, or we might rest a field on purpose. We'll have 1 9v9, 1 77, and 1 5v5 for the little guys. So, because as a U8, Katie, you can schedule 77 or 5v5, either one. So, and then Elger will have 2 7v7 fields. Elger's been in kind of rough shape lately, so so keep that in mind. If you want to, early season, if you want to schedule a scrimmage or something on one of these fields, you know, just put it on there. Obviously, understand if there's rain, the weather's really bad, and you're going to tear up the field, we're going to probably cancel that or push you to a different field. So our fields look pretty good. They started to be watered on Monday, and then obviously we got rain the last 2 days. So we're hoping for a little bit more tomorrow. And then electricity is supposed to be going in about 2 weeks. Cross our fingers. So so the irrigation will be rolling. So anything as I continue to roll, because I don't want to keep you guys that long. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Quick thing on scheduling too. If you notice when the Google Doc comes out, you know, if you notice there's a game at 2, you know, on a Saturday, and there's another spot at 3:15, you want to do 4:30. If you do a 3:15, you're more likely to get a ref, because then the ref can get 2 games. So take a look before you schedule on the thing, and then try to block them. Just helps with ref scheduling.
And OCL, COPL, the guy who runs it, he might even change your game because of that exact reason. So if you schedule, there's a 2 and you schedule a 4, he might bump one of the 2 games on purpose. So make sure you check in the schedule out to make sure that happens. So in the past, we've done preseason friendlies at Shelley. The weekend I was shooting for was the 14th, 15th. Obviously, there's a weekend before that, which is the 7th, 8th. You're welcome to, you know, maybe find scrimmages, stuff like that. We will have that document up if you want to create scrimmages the weekend after as well. But my goal is to pull in a few different clubs for that weekend. We'll probably try and set it up for, you know, certain hours are for, you know, 8, 9, 10s, and then 11, 12s, and then the older kids or something like that. So, or we might set up like boys or girls or something like that. So we'll try and figure it out, because we can't fit everyone at one time, because we did that before and people were parking on the soybeans and didn't work out real well. So it was pretty rough. So if there's other connections you want to pull clubs in or whatever, reach out to me. I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of these directors, because I talked to a lot of them and so forth, to try and get them to come out to Shelley. So
Mark, hey, can I back up to the scheduling real quick? So especially for the coaches that are newer to NPL, we have that August 8th mandatory scheduling. There is a chance that we'll know our schedule in advance before going to that scheduling meeting. But can you let us know when is the earliest that we can play in the spring on Shelley? Because it's my understanding with NPL, we're not leaving that room until we have the whole year scheduled.
Yeah, I would focus on April and May if I were you, but
Sure, I just, that was more for the general population here for us to all know.
Yeah. So Alan Hinder, for those that do not know, Alan Hinder is our Shelley Park maintenance coordinator. Brent Segner's dad, Steve, also is out there. They do phenomenal things with that park. If you saw it 3 years ago, it looked pretty awful. So they've done a fabulous job of getting the park up to where it needs to be, and obviously there's a lot more coming with it. So, but game wise, I would say I would start scheduling. You could start scheduling games, I guess, on the 21st of August at Shelley, all the way through into November, and then I would say Alan is he works with Scott, so the big thing for him is I don't really want people on the fields until the grass starts growing in the spring. So that pretty much happens right after spring breaks. We usually open the park for games about then. We do a lot of training on turf. We'll have the Marysville High School will probably train there on Saturdays and Sundays. And we'll open it up as many hours as we need to accommodate some people trained every single session, Saturday and a Sunday, for the entire month of March. So, and then we'll talk about that as we get closer to the spring. But the NPL realized what we're talking about. We had a meeting with Shelley. Shelley is the quarry, by the way. The quarry actually owns the soccer park. We have a lease from them. Our lease is until 2025 right now. They gave us the okay to extend that lease. We're pushing for 20 more years on the park. With 20 more years, that allows us to possibly do a lot of really neat things out at the park. Alan wants a building for all the equipment, a larger building, stuff like that. We've talked about the turf field. We've talked about indoor training facility. Those are the two main things that we're looking to push right now, because it's good things for kids, and that's the main thing we want to do with it. So, and then we're talking about extending toward the quarry, which would be toward Marysville, the Marysville side, actually extending the park and possibly getting maybe another 20 acres or so out there, adding to the parking and so forth. So those are some things that, as a board, we've been talking about, things that at the end of the spring, I said, hey, what's important to you? And we talked about turf field. We talked about indoor facility. We talked about like a foreign soccer club sponsorship or connection. I think there are a few other things, and I think everyone understands it. As we try and make cool things for kids, putting an indoor training facility, and then possibly a turf field out there would be really good things for the club. So, and kids. Questions on that? Okay. Teams and kids. So just giving you an update on how tryouts went for us in the fall. I think in the fall, last fall, we were sitting at like 32 teams, I believe. We had 420 kids last fall. This fall, as of right now, and I know that there's 2 or 3 more kids that are trying to get into the club right now. I know Katie's meeting with a girl tomorrow at 6, and I had 2 other people contact me today. We're sitting at 43 teams and 545 kids right now playing soccer and that's just Elite FC. So UCSL, which is the rec organization, is also with us. They had 750 kids last year playing, which is a which is a record for them as well. And that was in the spring. So, so it's really neat. You know, and honestly, a lot has to do with what you guys do. And I think for the club, some of the things that we wanted to do was to, you know, spread ourselves into Dublin, into PAL a little bit more. And I think we were pretty successful with that. You know, there's a lot of Marysville kids. There's a lot more Delaware kids. We got some more Plain City kids. So those 5 towns right around Shelley Park is, we're starting to, you know, see more kids come into that. So, and it's just neat because it just gives more chance for the kids that are in the club this year, more chance to play and more opportunity to play with different people and so forth. So it's really neat. So hats off to you guys for all you guys do for the club. So, any questions on that? All right. We had talked about one of the questions, and I actually put it on after maybe 5 or 6 of you filled out that survey, trying to do some sort of, in July, maybe just drop in soccer, maybe do box training, maybe do goalkeeper and striker training together. I know a lot of you talked about doing open fields, and make sure, I think when you do open fields, make sure you share with others so that, you know, I know that it's not just one team, but if we could bring like all the high school boys together at one time, all the high school girls together at one time, all the, you know, 8, 9, 10 girls together, something like that. We could kind of set something like that up. So, so we'll try, if you want to head something like that up or whatever, let me know and I'll try and broadcast it out to everyone or put it on that group me thing. But Matt Levy had talked about doing a striker clinic, either a Monday or Wednesday, and like a 6 and a 7:15. Be neat if we can get maybe someone that wants to do goalkeepers in that. I reach out to a couple of people. It'll be like once a week or something like that. And they just bring in $10 and that would be their drop in. I know some of you guys are really good at box training. You know, you can get 15, 30 kids out there one night and just do an hour of box training or something like that. That would be awesome. So maybe do striker goalkeeper on one night, box training on a different night or something like that. So just reach out to me if that's something that interests you. I know some are in town, some are not in town for certain things. You know, so it could be Monday this week, Wednesday next week, Thursday the week after. I don't really, whatever, however you guys want to work it, it doesn't matter to me. So anything to add on that? Questions?
Hey, for the open fields and just general training, again, if you send out a Google sheet, that way we can see, hey, there are other U12 teams out there on, you know, July 15th or something like that. Maybe we'll do it at Shelley instead of going to Mill Valley South or something like that. So if you could put that out there to all the coaches and then have coaches when they know their training days and open field days, other coaches can see and plan accordingly.
Okay. Yep. We'll put that on the field reservation sheet. Yep. All right. Anything for the better of the club before we finish? All right. So next meeting is going to be, we're actually going to be at Shelley. We're going to be in person. Hopefully, I think just the Zoom one is good for those that can't make it because I could record it and be just going over paperwork, going over like tournaments and stuff like that, things we can't do at the park. So the next meeting is actually going to be at Shelley, and we're looking at July 20th at 6:30. And it's hopefully a lot of you are in town. That one is going to be all about how to run training session, things to do in training sessions, and so forth. So all about running training sessions, and we'll pass out. We'll communicate a little bit more about how that's going to go and so forth. I will have more gear that day. We'll have it out there for you guys. A lot of you didn't get, there are gray shorts out there, there's black shirts out there, so forth. So there's some little bit more gear some of you guys can get in the sport for the fall. I think that's about it. We got a chat. Let's see.
So Mark, one other thing. I know in the past we'd heard a lot of questions around just expectations for coaches in terms of number of training sessions per week. How long should training sessions be? When do they start? When do they end? So just in the recent board conversations, we said maybe this year, just to make sure that there's always a really clear expectation for what everybody needs to be doing, we'll start to be able to publish contracts for the coaches. So hopefully that should be coming here soon.
There you go. Okay. And then just in case you guys don't know, Andy Hockman he's our goalkeeper director. So he runs goalkeeper training, and in the spring he did 5 o'clock, and I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So he set it up for like the youngest kids, and he had different age groups, different days, and so forth. So try and push your kids to get out there. He does a phenomenal job with them. A lot of fun for the kids, and you can definitely see a lot of improvement. So
Mark, I'll put that out there. We're going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the fall for practice. And so I usually run it an hour before my team practice. It just makes my life that much easier. So it'll still kind of run the same way, depending on the number of kids and, you know, that we're anticipating being out there. So more to come for sure. And I'll do this summer, this July. I've had some parents already ask if we were going to do anything, and I just said stand by. We're going to talk about it. So once we figure out what we're doing here in July, count me in. We'll kick balls at the goalkeepers for a little while.
there you go. Well, maybe you and Matt Levy can organize that and just kind of go right through it, and not even, I mean, if a kid wants to come, then come, unless you guys want them to register on the website and go from there, or we could just have them drop in, whichever way you guys want to do it. So, all right. Well, I appreciate everyone stopping in and so forth. Are there any final questions, anything you want to add?
I do have a question, but I don't know if it's for everybody to have to wait, but maybe I'll get an answer somehow. At this point, is COPL and Buckeye, are those equivalents?
Don't ask Matt Levy that question.
So I and I know Andy, you probably had the same experience I did. So we played NPL. We also did state level of COPL. I will say just in a lot of tournaments, we played state level of Buckeye teams. And at this point, COPL state level, at least where I was, competition was better than state level of Buckeye. I know Matt's going to give you a completely different answer, but that was just my personal experience.
You know, I haven't done the COPL or NPL. I just find that if you want to compete with the state cup level teams, you know, or if that's your goal to, you know, to play against some of the best teams in the state of Ohio, I guess I still see them in probably Buckeye, a state league, and then regional league. So, you know, I think there's probably very good teams in NPL too, but yeah, I just think there's a little bit clearer path. And again, looking at the state cup results, if you can believe that now, ECNL teams don't play state cup, but I still think some of the best soccer is played at state cup level. So I would tend to believe that most of those teams are still in state league or Buckeye and regional. So.
And I think one of the things you want to think about too is, you know, what are the teams above you, below you? If I need to get a player from a different group, you know, what are they playing? You know, so maybe I need, you know, one of the second U11s girls to come up and play. Are they playing Buckeye? Are they playing COPL, OCL? You know, because COPL is carded U.S. Club, Buckeye is carded through a U.S. Youth. So they're carded differently. So one can't play for the other. So, but if you're in the same organization, you can still play. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
I suppose I was under the understanding that as soon as Buckeye is introduced at the age level that I'm going into, that takes the teams out of the COPL, which is what I was familiar with in the other club. So
yeah. I would say
I
you
don't know
still
if they
have-
stay.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, I don't know when, Matt, do you know when Buckeyes registration is due?
I want to say mid of July or so, or maybe even earlier July.
So we may be able to it may be a thought that you'll be able to see what's in COPL. And then if you don't like what it is, then register for Buckeye. So just don't you can pull out of COPL anytime you want to. So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and my last question was, is it reasonable to start practice at 5:00 for a group?
Depends on I would reach out to your parents and make sure that that's okay. That'd be
Okay.
I would say most would have a tough time with getting there at that time, or some will. But I would reach out to them first, because they'll have the answer for you. If they
Okay.
all can do it, then I think it's fine. If not, then, if you're missing 2 kids, I would push it back.
It's just I'm involved with 2 teams and there's only so much time in the in the evening, right? So, all right, that's cool. I'll figure that out.
Hey, one more quick thing on leagues though too is that there are different fees for referees, depending on the age level, in the league or whatever. So as you decide, if you could just let Glenda know, because this last year, because of COVID and things were a little bit weird and things like that, we kind of were a little bit flexible on how many games we had every team schedule and things like that. But even though this really means nothing to most of you from a budgeting perspective, we do have basically as kind of a set number of games that we budget for, just in terms of referee fees. So as you kind of decide that of what leagues you're going to play in or whatever, just kind of make sure we let Mark and Glenda know, because we kind of have to, that kind of dictates, we say, all right, hey, make sure you don't schedule more than, 8 games or 9 games or whatever. It makes sense. So
The teams are set up for 8 games, 8-game league season. So. All right. All right, that's all I got. I appreciate you guys all coming. If you have any questions or whatever, please feel free to reach out, and let us help you guys out. There's a lot of very experienced coaches in this club, and a lot of very helpful people. So reach out, let us know, and get on that safe sport, get on all that stuff, and go from there. All right.
Can you just go ahead and send us that link, whatever you're saying, you have the email for that Got Sport?
Yep.
So we can, okay, thanks, man.
Yep, I think that went out earlier. I don't know if it was on
Oh.
email.
Okay,
Or whatever, so, yeah. But I'll try and see if I can make sure it gets out again. All right,
thanks, man.
all right. We'll see y'all.
Sounds good. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you. See ya.